A man lifts weights 10,000 times a day because he is the most invisible person in the world. Earth, bursting with energy, is about to undergo an evolutionary upgrade. Everyone is transported by God to a safe alternate world, everyone except him. His astonishing invisibility talent goes unnoticed even by God. To prepare for humanity's return in 10 years and the monster invasions that come with it, the man must strengthen his body for battle. Though accompanied by the angel Rita during the dull waiting, the man finds he cannot realize any of his own plans through her. Yet, on the long-anticipated final day, humanity's return never comes. The timeline's disorder makes that day endlessly elusive. 10 years, 20 years, even 50 years pass, and the world remains unchanged. The only difference is that the man has grown immeasurably strong. But the magic of time also slowly blurs his memories of Yomioni. Watching the man's lonely figure, the helpless Rita feels a deep ache inside. With a wooden stick crashing to the ground, the man finally shows his weariness of life. Rita's heart tightens. Has despair taken hold? Is he ready to give up? Though she has no reason to persuade him, God's orders are clear. She must keep him alive. Want to read together? Great, the man hasn't given up yet. Even facing an unknown future, he remains a positive and passionate man. From that day on, the man entered the school library for the first time. Whether cultural texts or novels, books became his way to pass the time. Meanwhile, accompanied by Rita, he traveled the world. Time stretched on, and with the final page turned, no more books remained for the man to read. While Rita worried about what the man might do next, he seemed to grow more determined, asking what more she could prepare for the upcoming great update. Though alone for centuries, he never wavered in his belief in humanity's return. Even the angel Rita was moved by his strength, sincerely praying to God to bring humans back before he breaks. With abundant theoretical knowledge in hand, practice became all the more crucial. The man could effortlessly drag massive wild boars, even preparing various dissection tools for them. Suddenly, the man had a bold idea. If he killed all the animals, would monsters still appear? Hunt as much as you want it, worse, the ecosystem falls out of balance. As for monsters, they're originally. Realizing something was wrong, Rita hurriedly covered her mouth. The man, focused on butchering, seemed unaware of her concern, intent only on mastering his dissection skills. The man's inexplicable enthusiasm always found a new interest immediately after finishing one task. After finally butchering a sperm whale, the man fully mastered dissection. Then he plunged straight into forging weapons. Even Rita couldn't help but scoff. How could someone with a 100-year lifespan accomplish so much in 300 years? The man seemed talentless at forging, taking nearly 5 years to craft his first ordinary sword. His hard work was quickly seized by Rita, forcibly kept as a keepsake, and enchanted, guaranteed not to disappear after the great update. From handmade blades to swords and axes, his weapon crafting steadily improved. A century later, a dazzling spear emerged. Rita declared it his greatest creation yet. But after the great update, tougher materials made those weapons obsolete. No problem, just craft new ones. The man's unwavering optimism comforted Rita. One day, with no other plans, the man practiced old martial arts moves again. His dedication stirred something deep in Rita's heart. Years spent together celebrating his joys, sharing his worries, Rita's complex feelings finally blossomed into affection. Unconsciously, she even imagined names for their future children. Rita's odd behavior caught the man's attention, but he pretended nothing was amiss. Then, suddenly, his sword changed. Rita's own sword flew straight into the sky, and in panic, she chased after it immediately. Meanwhile, something strange happened. His clothes reverted to how they looked before time stopped. Finally catching Rita, he noticed cracks spreading beneath their feet. Earth's great update had begun. No one expected the update to arrive without warning. There was no chance for proper goodbyes, just watching Rita shrink into a tiny speck in the sky. If I survive this, will I have a chance to see you again? At the same time, traffic lights blinked back to life. A shimmering starry light flickered, and the bus stop filled with people again. Everyone returned to their state from 1,000 years ago, as if none of this had ever happened. When the man opened his eyes in the crowd, he found a system panel before him. Ryu Han, human with no profession, active skill. Advanced, passive skill. Unestimable, lagging behind grants, extra rewards, and 5 skill points gained per level up. Just as Rita said, every returning human could check their status, but it seemed their data had been reset, and except for himself, they'd only experienced 10 years. Soon, the man noticed something odd. No one in the crowded street seemed to notice him. Could it be because of that so-called advanced skill? But how do I turn it off? The man was completely speechless. Did he fall out of sync again during the return? If nothing can be changed, then let it be. Just seeing the streets full of people again was enough to satisfy the man who endured 1,000 years of solitude. Bathed in sunset, returning home no longer came at 2:45 a.m. A familiar call made the man's heart tremble. His mother's blurred memories began to clear. The stove bubbled with life. Abog read the newspaper at the table. Everything was back to how it used to be. But the next moment, reality harshly snapped Ryuhan out of his pleasant illusion. After returning, his parents' conversations always revolved around the other world, but he couldn't join in at all. He also discovered everyone had been sent to different places. Even his mother was curious where he had gone and what interesting things he had experienced, making Ryu break out in cold sweat. Of course, he could never tell his parents he'd stayed on Earth, even traveled the world with an angel, such absurd things. Using all his wit, he finally fabricated that it was a nameless place, and Yomioni actually believed it. Compared to that, he regretted not mastering magic better, mainly because he heard those skilled in magic could easily earn lots of money. Just thinking about it made him happy. That struck a nerve with Ryu Han because he couldn't do magic at all. But his parents showed no surprise that even after 10 years of exposure, not everyone learns magic. These things didn't matter to Ryu Han. What he cared about was this peace, returning to his own world. In his bedroom, Ryu Han grew puzzled. The spear, which should have disappeared when time reset, somehow appeared in his room, saving him the trouble of finding a weapon for the future. But the next moment, a system pop-up appeared. Ryu Han's spear attack power is 800, a miracle forged with magical aid. Its strength and resilience felt like it was made from the bones of an ultimate monster. Yet Ryu Han had no concept of what 800 attack power meant. Right now, he just wanted to understand what that other world really was. With humanity's return, the internet flooded with information about the other world. First, Ryu needed to learn the connection between human combat levels and monsters. Level 5 is basically the average person. But level 7 is the minimum standard to become a soldier. By level 10, people can wield swordsmanship and shooting skills. At level 50, you undergo your first evolution to become a second stage warrior, and level 100 is needed to reach third stage, but very few unique individuals exist at that level. Beyond level 100, each level up is hellishly difficult. Fourth stage warriors are unheard of. People speculate they may no longer even be human, more like demon lords. With all this information, the man sighed. Humanity still has a long way to go. He wondered how Rita was doing now. Rita will be glad you miss her. The sudden voice made the man instantly alert. I'm the invader, the angel Elta, here to help you learn magic. Looking toward the window where the voice came from, Ryu Han saw a tiny figure the size of a soda can standing there. What on earth was this? Such a tiny angel? With the appearance of the miniature angel Elta, the mist shrouding Earth began to lift bit by bit. It turned out Earth once had a group of terrifying monsters, and the dungeon was God's trap for them. First, God prepared delicious food inside the trap. When monsters were lured in, the doors would close smartly. Unlike the trapped monsters, humans could freely enter and exit after reaching a certain level, thus the origin of today's dungeon. But after Earth's great update, these barriers will gradually fade, and monsters will rampage into the human world. So mastering monster slaying before then is urgent. Though the man felt moved, one thing troubled him deeply. The angel Elta, claiming to guide him in magic, was really just satiating her own curiosity, giving him no privacy at all. Even so, the man could bear it. What truly angered and saddened him was that he had 1.7 terabytes of treasured study materials he'd never get to appreciate, and this would last for a whole year. Why is the gap between angels so vast? The man finally understood just how beautiful the days with Rita had been, blaming himself for focusing only on slaughtering beasts back then, never truly cherishing a single day. After 1,000 years, the man returned to school for the first time, and Elta, who insisted on doing everything together, was annoyingly dangling above his head. Suddenly, her unexpected shout startled him. It turned out the government had prepared an army to handle the upcoming tide of monsters. Whether it would help, the man didn't know, only that Rita once said high-level monsters couldn't be defeated by anything but magic. The next moment, the man arrived in the classroom, still invisible to everyone as usual. Yet, his most despised useless skill didn't seem so bad after all. According to Elta, any bit of magic and some battle experience could activate attack-type skills. For a high-level being like him, even combining all the students' skills in the classroom couldn't match his invisibility. The man appeared clueless but impressed, quickly realizing invisibility had its perks, like openly eavesdropping on others' conversations. They were discussing a girl who might be from their school, and he was the one who had dominated the other world for 10 years, known as Yo Wang. Hearing this, the man wondered why he was paying such high tuition and wasting time listening to useless knowledge. Would a diploma really be more useful than magic in a monster-filled future? The best way to train magic is through real combat, Elta answered, reading his thoughts. Monsters are weak early on after a big update. It's the perfect time to gain experience and strengthen your magic. But the man, only level 1, didn't dare to face monsters head-on just yet. But you have a strong body. Though Rita kept saying you're a poor soul who can't use magic, I realized after coming here that's not true. Your physical strength is exceptional, strong enough to easily take down level 25 monsters even in your current state. Level 25? That caught the man off guard, and he quickly asked Elta to confirm again. But Elta suddenly fell silent mid-explanation. The classroom erupted as everyone rushed to the windows. Outside, gigantic insects swarmed. The invasion had begun. Moments ago, monsters had invaded the campus. The huge insects sparked panic. Some brave warriors charged out, but seeing them struck down instantly made everyone realize this was beyond their ability. The next second, everyone fled in terror, leaving the massive classroom empty except for the protagonist. Was he abandoned again? Though this happened often, it was still frustrating. But the man had no intention of running. To him, these insects were no different than the sperm whales he had trained on for 1,000 years. Using his years of crafting skill, he quickly fashioned a handy weapon from a table leg. Even Elta praised his defense, though inwardly she grumbled, "This poor soul who can't do anything," was clearly not so pitiful. Just as the man was ready, he realized a serious problem. Even with his low presence, it would be hard to go unnoticed on the battlefield, right? Is that even a problem? A masked man descended from above, smashing a mantis's head with a 42-inch foot. System messages popped up, gained 800 experience points, leveled up to 3. Attribute body maxed, requiring materials to advance, plus a record of killing a level 13 giant mantis. The man was surprised to level up so fast. Even more thrilling was feeling his magic grow, though just slightly. Elta's taunt about enjoying the thrill of killing made him want to find a chance to teach her a lesson, but now was not the time to relax. Several larger ants crept up behind him, reminding the man of a long-forgotten training goal. He had never honed his ability to fight groups. He swung with a speed almost too fast for the eye, piercing one ant instantly and shattering it to pieces. But what about the ones flying above? Though the man could leap several meters to slay a mosquito, their numbers were overwhelming. One mosquito attacked from behind, pinning him down. Elta didn't even have time to warn him, yet the mosquito's sting did no harm. Elta finally understood. The man's physical strength wasn't just formidable. It had long surpassed human limits. One after another, the man fought bravely, gaining more rewards. But before long, dozens of monsters surrounded him. Just as he was overwhelmed, a lightning spell descended from the sky, turning all monsters to charred black. The blinding light was so fierce it made the man squint. As it faded, he saw a masked woman standing in the distance. Was she Yo Wang? Though her face was hidden, the name was the first to come to his mind. The long-delayed government troops arrived just in time after the fight was over. They sure knew how to pick their moments. Meanwhile, they spotted a sneaky man rummaging through something. It was the man, trying to find some counterfeit or mixed items. Only after Elta explained did he realize he needed to dismantle their bodies to gain anything. After slaying wild boars for 1,000 years, this was second nature to him. As they say, hard work pays off. The ordinary little stones turned out to be essential materials for all upgrades. Just as the man rejoiced, he noticed something strange. Why was everyone pointing their phones at him, taking pictures? Flustered and unsure what to do, he turned to see if they really were filming him. The powerful impact didn't pierce his body but bent itself instead, and it was a giant mosquito's mouthpart. The day after humanity's return, the first wave of monsters attacked. Those trained in level 1 magic for 10 years fled in panic, but only this non-magic man stood his ground. Originally forgotten on Earth, the man's timeline had been warped, giving him over 1,000 years to build his body, now far beyond human limits. Yet the sheer number of monsters still put him in a tight spot. Then, the legendary Yo Wang appeared, instantly wiping out the remaining monsters with immense magic. Humanity's return allowed them to wield magic anew the very next day. Yo Wang's power amazed the man, igniting his desire for magic. Meanwhile, he only had basic survival skills, having perfected what he could over endless years. But thanks to his anatomy skills, the monster remains scattered around became treasures. Guided by the angel Elta, dismantling these corpses could yield magical benefits, attracting Yo Wang's attention. After a friendly discussion, they agreed on a 60-40 split to share the spoils. With a massive gem resting in Yo Wang's palm, their first collaboration was sealed. Late at night, the neighborhood park was empty except for the man, staring at his spoils, unsure how to use them. The tough monster shells made excellent armor material, but processing them was tough work. Impossible without a master blacksmith. Elta doubted this, but the man's skills were already industry-leading. This was nothing like what Rita had said. How could anyone stay obsessed with one thing for hundreds of years? Disliking the man's arrogance, Elta feigned depth. You don't know about forging with magic power, do you? It was news to him. This instantly piqued the man's interest. Elta beamed with pride until the man grabbed him and begged to be taught. Flustered, Elta relented. The man awkwardly apologized, learning that magic stones could strengthen weapons and gear. Forgers infused their will into magic, granting equipment, special properties, flaming swords, ice-shooting bows, or shields that restore stamina when blocking. It all depended on the forger's skill. Magic stones only played an auxiliary role for now. The man hadn't decided what gear to craft yet, so he'd start with what he was certain about. Soon, the skilled man crafted a pair of bracers and a chest plate. Following Elta's advice, he ground the magic stones into powder and sprinkled them evenly on the gear's surface. Everything went surprisingly smoothly, making the man a bit cocky. Though reluctant, Elta had to admit the man was truly talented. But there was still some magic stone material left. How to use it? Eyeing the scattered materials on the ground, the man quickly formed an idea. The forger's will was like the blueprint for gear construction. With enough detail, the mantis leg-looking piece could be used just so. As the glow in his palm intensified, Elta realized he was trying to coat it directly. But he couldn't control magic properly. This could go out of control. Just as Elta blurted a warning, the last bit of magic stone shattered, engulfing the man in a blinding white light. The millennium-trained gray wolf was knocked out cold by one punch from the man who didn't even have any magic. Just last night, the unremarkable man tried enchanting gear for the first time, but the runaway magic made things dangerous. Thanks to Elta's timely intervention, the man was pulled back from the brink of death. After the dazzling light faded, a pair of bracers glowing with a faint blue aura appeared. Even Elta was stunned that such reckless work could succeed. After this successful enchantment, the man's magic level finally rose to 2. The misty bracers fused the mantis's scythe ability, just a gentle flick shattered the hanging chains into pieces. Embedding attack attributes into armor was something Elta never expected. Even more surprising, the man took off running the next second because he had just destroyed public property in the neighborhood. Getting caught would be a problem. But the man didn't consider don't angels have healing powers even while riding horses. The next morning, the news from yesterday's school incident kept replaying endlessly on television. Meanwhile, the government was intensifying its search for the two masked heroes to form a team capable of fighting monsters. Worried, Iomione suggested her son skip school, but staying home all day left him unable to do anything productive. On the way, the man couldn't stop thinking about Yo Wang, whose mastery of magic was incredibly powerful. But Alta thought it was nothing special after all. Why would God let humans learn magic if it wasn't meant to be? This stung the man, feeling abandoned by God. What Alta didn't say aloud was that the man could dismantle and handle monster remains without using magic, an even more incredible feat. Suddenly, Alta's expression grew serious. His senses detected a pack of about 70 wolves nearby led by a level 35 alpha. This number and strength shocked the man, completely contradicting the early-stage disaster rumors of only low-level monsters. Alta found this strange too. Moreover, it was only the second day after the big update started yesterday. Yet there was already flooding a stark difference from past patterns. Then why didn't you say anything yesterday? You seemed so calm. Because I saw no need to share my worries with lower beings, which left the man baffled. After all, Alta was an angel, and the man couldn't argue with that. But the two angels had completely different personalities. Alta was like a proud heiress, always keeping clear boundaries in interactions. Rita, on the other hand, was a bit silly, but sometimes felt like a warm, cheerful older sister. The man thought this without restraint, forgetting entirely about Alta's mind-reading ability. But Alta suddenly felt he might have been a bit harsh and finally revealed the truth to the man. Earth was abnormal now. To prepare for the big update, God sent all humans away to learn magic but neglected other creatures on Earth, thinking they could fend for themselves, and after all, it was only 10 years. However, due to an unknown error, Earth's time warped while other worlds experienced 10 years, 1,000 years passed here. So, all creatures on Earth grew and evolved for 1,000 years, just like the man. The man now faced not just dungeon monsters, but animals that had lived alongside humans for ages. An even bigger problem arose. God and other angels were working to restore Earth's order, meaning all current issues had to be resolved by the man. With a graceful leap, the man launched the first attack. The powerful impact shattered the wolf pack instantly. As system prompts rang out, he quickly leveled up to 9. But Alta couldn't understand the man's next move. Are you a pervert? Why do you keep messing with its corpse? While the man explained, 2 more wolves bared their fangs and lunged. The man spun and unleashed his cloud-breaking dragon move, instantly taking them down. The wolf pack finally reacted, turning as one and charging toward the same target. But the man's strength exceeded their expectations. The alpha became his prime target. The man's overwhelming power was tested on the alpha wolf, and with the pack leader defeated, the others quickly fell back. Suddenly, a shout broke out in the crowd. A lone wolf had stepped on a human and glared fiercely at the man from afar. What's going on? Have animals learned to take hostages now? A 1,000-year-old man taking down 70 gray wolves barehanded. No wonder the girl was willing to pay 30 million just to be with him. But the sensible man chose to take the money and leave. Faced with the girl's persistent refusal, he pulled out a mysterious red smoke bomb. In a flash of light, he and the money vanished. In reality, The man was right beside them, they just couldn't see him. Once people lost sight of the man for more than 3 seconds, he disappeared from view. Through countless sudden vanishings, he earned the title of the fastest man alive. Right now, the man just wanted to finish the choice before him. After slaying a large number of giant wolves, his level suddenly stalled at 10. Only after opening the system panel did he realize there were 23 options, leaving him overwhelmed and seeking Alta's help. The number of options depended on the types and quantities of monsters previously killed. With more time, there could be 30 or even 40 choices. Alta suggested choosing the blue spearman or becoming a full-set user of Graphiel, aligning with his training path. As he leveled up, he could unlock a second or even third subclass, something the man had no idea about. He had scoured all related info but never found anything about this. What useful info could there be online? It's a total waste of your life. It seemed Alta had some bad experiences online. Still, the man trusted Alta's recommendation. Besides fitting him well, the class allowed selecting powerful weapons to boost himself further. Just as he was about to confirm, a new option appeared, a hidden class named Bloodline Arthur. Alta urged him to pick it, a mutated class he got in the first stage. The man was confused, not understanding what this meant. A mutated class is custom-made based on past combat experience and monster records, so no matter what, he had to choose it. Without hesitation, the man selected the 24th class, triggering a series of system sounds for attribute and level boosts. But soon, he sensed something was wrong. Checking the panel again, he realized his class was Confused Long-Hair Soldier. With no bloodline, blue was it Blood Disease Blue instead. Alta didn't argue, admitting he had misread it as Bloodline Blue too. The discovery of a hidden class was just too exciting. Suddenly, a dazzling light erupted behind him, energy waves surged, and the man's body began to strengthen and upgrade. Soon, a diamond-hard physique fused within him, bringing an exhilarating power. But when he checked the system panel again, nothing had changed still. Confused Long-Hair Soldier. The man was crushed. Worse, he still hadn't gained any active skills. His expression showed he felt as if he'd swallowed something foul. Even Alta admitted this was rare. But it might be good news for the upcoming second stage. Missing skills twice could mean an exceptionally powerful skill appearing next. This was the only comfort for the man, leaving a chest filled with 30 million by the roadside just to compete with a village boy for free eggs. The unexpectedly generated hidden class wasn't as strong as the man hoped. Without even a single active skill, his situation became dangerous. He had to rush experience gain to unlock the potent skills possibly appearing in Stage 3. Based on trending online discussions, the man soon found his direction. But his opponent was stronger than expected, a nearly 30-meter-tall creature signaling a second-tier brown bear. Alta revealed it was a level 45 monster. The entire military on site could barely harm him, forced to watch as the beast ravaged the city, helpless. Only with the man's arrival did hope appear. Rumors said the man, as fast as Bolt, swung his long-hair spear straight at the giant brown bear. Remaining invisible before the first strike, the bear sensed danger but saw nothing approaching. The bear's first roar tried to ward off the threat, but a fully charged attack struck its head, causing a slight bruise. The crowd nearly erupted in cheers. The giant bear froze and slowly turned its head, finally spotting the source of danger. Sensing the grim situation, the man roared for everyone to flee. Just as he finished, a massive bear claw slammed down nearby, prompting the crowd to scatter. The man's task now was to distract the brown bear. Dodging the bear's swipe with agility, the man charged back with a spear thrust aimed at the huge paw. But his full power strike didn't cause a scratch. Is it time to use that move? His upgraded body was nearly as strong as before, but could the long-hair spear hold up? During training with Rita, the man was told to focus all his strength on one point. Despite his warnings that this could hurt someone, Rita insisted he strike directly. So, the man decided to go all out. With a fierce leap, he delivered a brutal punch. He collapsed in pain, but Rita's gentle comfort made it feel worth it. Moreover, the man had broken one of Rita's hairs for the first time. Against a divine angel, injuring even a hair was a remarkable feat. So, could he withstand a strike that even Rita approved of against this mere level 45 second-tier monster? Blood splattered from the bear's head as it collapsed. This time, it never stood again, slowly shrinking back to normal size. So, it had been using some kind of giant transformation skill, but that didn't lessen the man's eagerness to dismantle it. At the same time, a black car screeched to a stop beside the man. As the door opened, he was speechless to see 5 people crammed into the tiny vehicle the 5 power users sent to rescue him. At first, they thought sending 5 men to deal with a low-level second-tier monster was a boring task. But when the soldiers heard that a single man had already handled it before they arrived, they were genuinely surprised. After all, if one person can end a battle that quickly, his strength must be formidable. He alone was like an entire army, but he was a reclusive spearman, afraid of social interaction. This man, who should have been ignored, gained attention because someone spotted the brown bear's corpse. Yet, the spearman had no desire to respond to the other's greetings. How he wished his invisibility skill would work right now, but his cold shoulder only fueled their anger. Fortunately, a companion held them back, preventing the situation from escalating. With this matter settled, everyone prepared to head to the next battlefield. Just as they were leaving, the leader, Wu Jun, approached the masked man and greeted him once more. Unsure whether to shake hands, the man hesitated. Wu Jun didn't care and spoke on, "You better remember my name because sooner or later, I'll surpass you. And after surpassing me, what then?" The man suddenly countered, catching Wu Jun off guard. In this world, power is everything. Whoever is stronger will be remembered. And not just you, I will surpass all of you one day. Baibo's passionate speech left the man momentarily stunned. He hadn't expected such a dull reason just to prove oneself by outdoing others. Then why do you need an opponent? Can't you grow without others? Is becoming stronger just about being better than others? You simply lack the courage to grow alone. True strength comes from relentless training in battle, not by pushing that burden onto others. You can't even focus on being your best self, yet you want to surpass others. Even after 1,000 years of cultivation, I wouldn't dare compare myself to others lightly. Your thinking is ridiculous. But all of this was just the man's own thoughts. The spearman didn't even realize they had already left. Embarrassed, he adjusted his mask and pretended nothing had happened. But after watching the scene, Alta mercilessly exposed him. Moments later, the man finished dealing with the brown bear's corpse. Just as he was about to leave with his spoils, an arriving officer stopped him, babbling incomprehensibly. In short, the officer wanted the man to install a military app so he could track monster locations in real time and provide timely assistance. Only after the man walked away did a rookie soldier ask an old veteran in confusion, "Why let him go just like that? We should force him to cooperate with us. Are you an idiot? Someone who kills a second-tier monster in 3 strikes is going to listen to us?" In another world, I've seen one person command an entire nation and these monsters. I have a feeling this man will only grow stronger. Trying to control him will backfire. This isn't the old world anymore. Governments and armies can fall because of a single individual. This surprised the rookie, though what amazed him more was how suddenly his mentor became so smart. Alta agreed it was the right choice to maintain a friendly relationship with the man rather than force cooperation. With the man's current power, he could easily wipe out all armies. But it seemed the man didn't realize how valuable he was in this world. He only cared about getting stronger. Perhaps because of his unique profession, his experience gains slowed 3 battles only earned him 1 level. On the other hand, the man earned a substantial cash income from the monster remains. Just as he began imagining how to splurge, Alta doused him with cold water. "If you spend that money, your identity will be exposed, but I can erase their memories." A close call. The man kept praising Alta like an angel, terrified he wouldn't be able to spend that tempting fortune. Early the next morning, the man was jolted awake by sudden news. The portal to another world had reopened, meaning humans could be sent there again. He was 99% sure he'd be left behind and ignored once more. Oh, no. Am I going to live alone again? He never imagined Alta had been secretly contacting the other world all along. Because Earth's powerful monsters were too troublesome, Alta decided it was better to send humans back. But he didn't care at all about the man's fate. Knowing this, the man would surely be left alone on Earth again. Alta was indifferent, boldly stating, "You've been alone for a long time anyway. It won't make much difference to you." But joking aside, Alta actually felt sorry for the man's situation. He wasn't the one who decided the man's fate. The man understood this too. Yes, it meant he might never make it to the other world. Not necessarily. 5 simple words rekindled the man's hope. If you grow strong enough, strong as an angel, you won't just be able to go there. You might even enter heaven. Really? Would that mean I could see Rita? Speaking of Rita, Alta had bigger plans. If the man stayed as he was, wouldn't he be forever stuck acting as their messenger of love, passing along all that nauseating sweet talk? As a straightforward steel woman, this was absolutely the last thing Alta wanted. Growing more irritated, Alta demanded the man train harder and get stronger, fast. Don't you want to reunite with the one you love? The man naturally hoped so. But now, it was time for a much-anticipated meal. Just then, an urgent news alert captured the whole family's attention. The nation officially declared a state of emergency martial law. And it wasn't just their country, seemingly the entire world agreed at this moment. All schools and companies were ordered to close, all to reduce the number of people on the streets. The man understood this was basically an admission from the government that nothing could be done to change the situation. At that moment, the man made his decision. "Dad, Mom, you should go back to the other world." Looking at her son, Iyomi hesitated, but Abiyoji, reading his newspaper, said, "What's the point? Last time we went there for 10 years and didn't even make it past the second phase. But at least it's safer than Earth, right? Abioji gave in and stopped arguing, encouraging his son to never give up and to always try his best until the end. But this drew a scolding from Mom's nanny. Are you in such a hurry to leave? Your mother just wants you to do your best and, most importantly, take care of yourself. The man, focused on eating, didn't notice anything strange and even wondered aloud. Today's meal tastes especially good. Until Iomioni said the next sentence. The masked man, that's you, right? The man never expected Iomioni already knew his identity. Could it really be Iomioni's unique maternal superpower? Like a mother penguin always finding her chick, the man was so moved he nearly cried. Even God couldn't see his world, only his mother cared about him. Though Iomioni knew her son had grown very strong, she couldn't help but worry. She warned him to stay safe and, more importantly, to beware of people more terrifying than monsters. What once was nagging now sounded so sweet. Just as the man finished saying goodbye to his parents, Alta had to return to heaven to fight for more mission rewards for him. Somehow, the man blurted out, "Bring me back an ice cream." Alta just gave him a deadpan look. "Do you have any manners? You want an angel to bring you ice cream?" Once everything was settled, the man prepared to start his plan. At night, the man turned on the room light. The workshop stacked with tools had been set up the night before. Of course, it wasn't fully equipped. To quickly process perishable leather and bones, the man didn't even have handy metal tools. Processing all those quality bones should take a lot of time, right? That left the man stumped. "You can use magic, you know." Alta returned sooner than expected, much to the man's delight. He barely finished asking about the ice cream before being stunned by what he saw. "What's going on? Alta, you grew bigger? Did you go back to learn some giant-size magic?" But in truth, Alta had been using a magic wand to shrink his body all along. Then Alta invited the man to hold his hand. Flattered, the man quickly wiped his dirty hands. As he grasped the cold hand, the system alerted. Heaven Mission Chapter 1, Agent Duty completed. All attributes increased by 1. Additional reward, Eternal Radiance. Knowing the man was puzzled, Alta waved his hand toward the spot behind him. Suddenly, a roaring fire blazed in the fireplace. "Not happy with today's breakfast? So you want to send your parents away?" Animals absorbed divine power and grew unusually strong. Even the government admitted they had no solution. At that moment, Angel Alta opened the portal to the other world. Though the man's name still wasn't on the transfer list, this was humanity's only hope to survive. The man left behind would have to become as strong as an angel to freely travel between worlds in the future. For now, he had to process these monster remains to craft powerful gear. But lacking forging tools left him stuck again until Alta brought his mission reward, solving the man's urgent problem. Eternal Radiance, a gift from heaven, burning bright and never fading. Meanwhile, Alta brought some good news. As compensation for men not being able to enter the new world, God had assigned them a new task. From now on, men were to build a new dungeon on Earth. The man froze. Since when does he know how to build a dungeon? He might as well just make instant noodles. But Alta solemnly declared, "This is a decision from God, and he will help you build this dungeon together with you." The man felt something was off. After a moment, he caught on. "What do you mean, help me build it together? Isn't this your responsibility? Besides, this doesn't sound like compensation at all. You said the pause would last 10 years, and now it's turned into 1,000 years. You promised growth, but now even leveling up has become harder." All the man's frustrations exploded at once, but Alta stubbornly insisted it was all part of the plan. Then the tone shifted. "Over the past 1,000 years, you've been honing your forging skills. Now you're capable of near miraculous feats. Besides you, no one else has the ability to build dungeons." "That's impossible," the angry man instinctively retorted to Alta. Then, reflecting on Alta's words, he wondered, was that a compliment? But why did Alta's expression look so suspicious? "I know you're trying to manipulate me into accepting your request, right?" Sensing the opportunity, Alta quickly added, "This is a win-win. Complete the task and you'll earn valuable rewards. But if you refuse, the consequences will be severe, Earth will become a wasteland, and humanity will suffer." Seeing the man fall silent, Alta immediately laid out a pile of rare materials for a final push. Among them were 3 extremely rare metals not found on Earth, and even a magic orb the size of a head that stunned the man into silence. But what truly struck a chord were the exquisitely crafted tools, nothing more enticing to a craftsman. The next moment revealed God's stinginess. The tools were only loaned to him and had to be returned afterward. As the blueprints unfolded, the man was instantly captivated. Such complex construction wouldn't be easy. Alta admitted it was difficult, but what he didn't realize was that this was exactly what the man wanted. It completely ignited his interest. Seeing the man's passion, Alta silently promised himself, "The reward after success will shock you." The eternal flame was a living fire spirit, and magic stones were its best nourishment. The blazing flame made the man start sweating uncontrollably. Alta watched intently, beginning to doubt if letting him choose the blue profession was a mistake, because right now, this man seemed to have the power to create divine artifacts. And it was proven true. The lure used to attract monsters quickly took shape, but the delicate task of carving runes pressured the man deeply. Only when Alta assured him that failure meant just reforging without loss of materials or time did the man breathe a sigh of relief and throw himself wholeheartedly into the work. Watching the man so focused, Alta finally understood what Rita felt when she accompanied him. Now he grasped why a high-ranking angel would be interested in a human. But the thought passed quickly. Alta didn't want any strange feelings toward the man, he was just empathizing with Rita's experience. Suddenly, the man slammed the table, breaking Alta's thoughts. As he stopped, a cube glowing with blue runes floated in his palm. You have earned the title of Legendary Creator. All production efficiency increased by 20%. Working with 81 hammers, he struck with the spirit of a divine craftsman. Even Alta, an angel, was shaken. But little did he know, the man didn't want this power gained through a millennium of loneliness yet. Invisible as he was, who would care? Just now, the man finished all the blueprint work in only 5 hours. Alta could hardly believe it. Impossible. No man could be this fast. When he held the still warm cube himself, flawless and perfect, his face showed pure disbelief. It was beyond what a human could achieve. So he feigned calm. He can barely be called a craftsman. But this already made the man ecstatic. When Alta explained that the rest of the work would fall to the other angels, the man happily wondered if Rita might come too. Of course not. As Alta radiated dazzling light, his halo took shape above his head. The man exclaimed, "I know this. I saw this all the time as a kid, an angel's halo." The next moment, the bright light flashed one last time, revealing 3 angels of different genders. The man noticed angels all had exquisite appearances, and even the grown-up Alta looked surprisingly beautiful. But the newly arrived angels doubted the man, thinking his work was subpar. It wasn't until Alta urged them on that they reluctantly placed their hands on the man's shoulders to prepare. The man's job was to focus solely on designing functions and usage. The rest would be handled by them. As the angels infused their magic into the body, the man felt overwhelming pressure coming from all directions. Even with his powerful physique, he still felt insignificant compared to these high beings' strength. Almost overwhelmed? Of course not. I will hold on. I will create this mechanism. To make the trap effective in attracting and containing monsters, it had to include something they longed for but lacked. And like them, abandoned for 1,000 years, he understood their loneliness, the warmth that soothes solitude. Meanwhile, the man's magic began to flow in steadily. The angels admired his strong will as a lowly creature, and one even became curious about this intriguing man. Suddenly, a fierce fluctuation shook the room so violently even the angels felt like they might be expelled. In the next moment, intense golden light filled the room. When the man opened his eyes again, he saw the trap box floating midair, surrounded by magic. Exhausted, he stood dumbfounded, unsure if this counted as success, but the incredulous look on the orchid angel's face answered that question clearly. What really shocked them wasn't that it formed in one go, but that the bow now carried dual attributes. The overly focused man probably missed the system notification mentioning hidden and earth exclusive. Triggering additional attributes by material, craftsmanship, and luck wasn't something just anyone could do. Dual attributes? That was outright defying the heavens. His unexpected power and incredible luck earned the man newfound respect, and he was invited to observe the monster taming process. But only a day later, they saw streets cut off from wealth and resources again. Thanks to the man's forward-moving skills, even flying boldly in the air, no monster noticed them. The man's unique constitution and forgotten past became the only constant on this journey. Soon, the destination came into view. A ruined, open space perfect for their plans. Alta tossed the magic cube into the air. Its dazzling light blinked and vanished before the man's eyes. As the man wondered where it went, the ground suddenly trembled violently. The troops carrying out the mission were stunned. The giant rat halted its attack and stared fixedly in one direction. Meanwhile, countless ants marched in unison toward the same point. Birds in the sky and animals of all species on the ground began migrating toward a single destination. Such a grand spectacle of nature even moved the high angels to remark, "This scene is thanks to that man." All this happened because dungeons worldwide were activated simultaneously. The angels infused stray energies into the trap boxes, and even shattered blocks could still attract monsters. Though old dungeons had long been disabled, usable resources were still worth preserving. After all, angels valued environmental protection, didn't they? The man, absorbed in watching, couldn't help but feel sympathy for the animals. After enduring 1,000 years, were they ultimately led into traps set by God and angels? God indeed wielded supreme power, instantly teleporting everyone and directing animals' migrations. In the end, humans were no more than playthings in his hands, and being abandoned for a whole millennium was just a mistake to them. Only Altru cared genuinely. I don't know if I'm crazy, but one thing I'm certain of. I must grow stronger, strong enough that no one can control me. I will reclaim my freedom. The strongest bear on Earth was armored by the man. Wearing the mask made him look sharper, but somehow less noticeable. Then, panic erupted. Outside monsters had appeared. A level 2 monster near here hadn't been drawn into the trap. The man prayed, "Please don't be stronger than that brown bear." Seeing the man worried, Alta thought he was scared to fight, but the truth was, the man didn't want to waste his freshly made armor. Facing a stronger monster meant making an even stronger set, but before the fight, he needed to maintain his gear. This bottle of alcohol has been sitting too long. After his forging skills improved, even a simple hammer strike pushed max level for beyond limits, making it unique quality. The chance for deadly strikes rose to 20%, and base attack rose by 300. If tempered with divine-grade forging tools, it could be even stronger. But Alta flatly and mercilessly rejected the man. All right, this is truly disappointing, but now is not the time to dwell on such things. A massive leopard was assaulting the Capitol building of the country, and no human armed force could inflict even a scratch on it. The man then realized that besides soldiers, there were also some career-chosen ability users. Yet even so, they still struggled to deal effective damage to a rank 2 monster. It wasn't their fault. They could even choose to go to another world, but for the man, this place was his only home. An earth shattered in intellect held no meaning for him. Though he wouldn't risk himself for others, one thing was certain. To save every single person, he would do his utmost. No matter how overwhelmingly powerful the monster, he would charge forward without hesitation. Meanwhile, a huge tank cannon was precisely aimed at the leopard's head. Needless to say, it was utterly ineffective, as this leopard was clearly far stronger than the previous brown bear. Enraged, the leopard targeted the attacking humans, stamping heavily on the tank. But this did nothing to ease its fury. The next second, it grabbed the entire tank, intent on swallowing the humans inside whole. The man finally arrived, springing up instantly. His speed left a blue streak in the air, yet he remained undetected as he closed in rapidly. Only when he charged toward the leopard's eyes, brimming with lethal intent, did the leopard become alert, but it was too late. Thick fur flooded into the leopard's eyes, swelling larger and larger. Even a rank 2 leopard couldn't withstand that piercing pain. Moreover, the man had triggered a deadly strike. The legendary Lord Bolt's arrival sparked hope in everyone, but the leopard didn't fall. It threw the tank higher into the air. Humans were still inside. The man had to halt his attack and prioritize the flying tank. Meanwhile, ground forces seamlessly joined in, pouring all firepower onto the leopard to buy the man enough time. Suddenly, the man sliced the tank in half, startling me. I feared their heads might fly off, but luckily, the heads stayed where they should be. As expected, 2 people were rescued, and the man finally exhaled in relief. "Thank you. From now on, Lord Bolt will be our goal to catch." While the man basked in praise from fans, danger struck again. The severely injured leopard was unharmed, and the cannon fire shifted toward the man. This creature was truly different. It could clearly identify its greatest threat. At that moment, the man could no longer activate his invisibility as he was locked onto by the leopard. He split the tank open, leaving the 2 soldiers inside, stunned they were still alive. But rescuing them came at a cost. The man was now fully targeted by the monster. Even under heavy human artillery fire, the priority was to eliminate him first. What surprised the man was that the rank 2 creature already showed signs of arrogance. Trying to evade, the man leapt into the air only to become the leopard's torch. Its massive head slammed hard into him. Witnesses held their breath for the man's fate, but just when all thought he was done for, a miracle occurred. A porcupine impaled the leopard's head. The wounded leopard began bleeding profusely, and the man smiled at his own quick thinking. Before coming here, the man had been at home, eating a burger and watching television as news reported large-scale animal migrations across regions. So, as he planned to craft more trap boxes, he was informed that the angels needed 2 days to recover due to depleted mana, delaying trap box production. But Alta had prepared another gift for the man. She had optimized all his leather and bones. Thanks to angelic magic, the quality of these materials had even upgraded by 1 tier, and leveraging the man's unique creative talent, he added a hidden skill to the armor. Because of this, a balanced armor of offense and defense came to be. Though Alta remained skeptical, the facts seemed to prove the man right. The only flaw was that it didn't look very presentable, some might even call it ugly. But to a rank 2 leopard, a few scratches were nothing. While tossing the man away, it charged again at where he landed, but missed entirely and slammed itself hard against a concrete wall. This gave the man an opening. As he landed, he drove the spikes on his feet into the leopard's skin. Staying steady, he relentlessly hammered the same spot. With a 20% critical hit chance, the damage multiplied. The leopard's movements grew slower and sluggish. Everyone seized the moment and charged. Though humans at rank 1 couldn't harm a rank 2 creature, even ants and elephants can't resist sheer numbers. In the end, the seemingly invincible rank 2 leopard finally collapsed amidst the rubble. And at that moment, the man realized the importance of teamwork. But Alta suddenly urged him to finish the final strike quickly. The man, however, dismissed it, believing the army could handle it. Little did he know, this was a leopard on the verge of evolving to rank 3. In an instant, countless tentacles burst from its wounds. The grotesque sight instantly triggered a visceral reaction in the man. Desperate to flee, the man couldn't outrun the mutation's speed. Numerous tentacles coiled around him, trying to turn him into nourishment. At last, the man realized Alta hadn't been joking. Though escape wasn't impossible, reason told him the right move was to kill it before it completed its evolution. Suddenly, a lightning bolt struck the tentacle-infested wound. The frenzied, writhing tentacles instantly fell silent, and the camera of that heavenly thunder. It was Yo Wang sitting in the helicopter, but in the next second the comrade's tentacles suddenly began to grow madly again. The level gap was too great. Even Yo Wang couldn't kill it outright. Letting the mutation continue, no one would stand a chance. Looks like it was time for that one move. Without hesitation, Yo Wang leapt from the helicopter, flying straight toward the man's position. Was he expecting the man to intercept him? Of course not. As soon as Yo Wang landed, he shared his plan with the man. Now, only I can empower you, focusing all power onto you alone. But my remaining strength isn't enough to help you fully. This process requires physical contact to complete. So, from now on, my life is in your hands. But before the man fully grasped what this meant, Yo Wang pressed his palm toward him. Let's begin taking down a rank 3 monster ahead of level. But the crowd demanded the spoils. The heavily wounded leopard finally fell under a last-ditch strike from the people. Just when everyone thought it was over, the leopard's fierce will to survive pushed it to break through to the 3rd stage, its mutated power multiplying instantly. None present could match it, not even the most skilled female mage. It was useless. The man's own strength let him escape smoothly, but the remaining humans might suffer because of this. Driven by a strong sense of responsibility, the man had no choice but to keep battling the disgusting tentacles. Realizing this was futile, Yo Wang decided to reveal his trump card. With a surge of magical power in his palm, he poured it all into the man, granting the power of Thunder Wrath. All attributes boosted by 50%. Attacks apply a debuff lasting 30 seconds. When Thunder Wrath ends, all stats drop by 50% for 3 minutes. In an instant, a surge of electricity crawled across the man's skin. All power concentrated in his fur as he drove it deep into the tentacle's growth point. Energy exploded into the wound. A powerful current detonated on the spot, spreading outward. You have gained 784,983 experience points. Level up to 28. New record, level 87, Wild Leopard Kill. As the system alert sounded, the man finally relaxed, slumping to the ground. Meanwhile, Yo Wang came over to ask about the kill reward but found the man hadn't received a single experience point. It turned out they weren't in the same team. But what even was a team? Did the system really have this feature? The man grimaced, saying he never knew about this and was never invited to join one. The next moment, the thunder, wrath, and alert startled him until the leopard's figure collapsed onto the road on the other side, finally putting his mind at ease. Otherwise, winning the battle only to be crushed by a corpse would have been a joke. Once again, the man's savior act earned cheers from the crowd, but his expression suddenly turned awkward. Alta, confused, asked if something else had gone wrong. You've already won. The leopard's size returned to normal after death, but the massive wounds left the precious leather tattered, leaving Alta speechless. Next up was the moment everyone shared the bounty of the treasure-filled body. Seeing the officer ready to start carving, the man volunteered, claiming he was best at dissecting corpses. The most important question was how to fairly divide the spoils. Yo Wang spoke first, offering the man 60%, himself 20%, and the rest to be distributed among everyone present. No one objected. The man showed no mercy. He leapt directly onto the leopard's back and forcefully dug into the back of its head. Sure enough, he found a pink magic stone, and it came from a monster on the verge of advancing to 3rd rank. Everyone watching gasped. A 2nd rank magic stone held immense allure for these 1st rank fighters. The man, meanwhile, sought Yo Wang's opinion with a probing question. Yo Wang said the stone was worth about 60% of the total value. With that settled, the man showed no greed. The rest was theirs to divide, yet the man's kindness became a stepping stone for others to push their luck. Everyone protested that the man couldn't take the magic stone alone. They risked their lives in battle too. The baser instincts of humanity were laid bare in that moment. The man didn't want to argue and let them have their way. After excluding the mages and dividing proportionally, the crowd on the ground finally showed satisfied smiles, and there were even some reckless people. But would they really hand over the magic stone? Elta asked the man with suspicion. The man explained his reasoning. Iomione had always warned him that convincing someone in such situations was difficult. Convincing someone is very hard, and not every time can problems be solved with words. But when you have a strong fist, there's no need for debate. Since childhood, the man had been a good boy who listened to his mother. He could give the magic stone, but if they wanted it, they'd have to take it themselves. Since the stone was 60%, the corpse worth 40% was all his. If anyone dared damage his skin or bones, they wouldn't leave alive. The leather and bones that belong to me then don't think of leaving alive. Everyone was frightened by the man. Accusations soon flew. Why provoke him? How could we give him the remaining 25%? Seriously. Finally, the two who led the protest relented. You take the magic stone. Let's stick to the original deal. The man jumped back immediately and began rifling through the magic stone, his previous arrogance gone. You're sly. Yo Wang appeared behind him, hoping to get his share broken down too. He offered 40% in exchange. The man, never one to hesitate over a credit deal, agreed without a second thought. Yo Wang's portion was soon settled, but before the man could figure out how to carry it, Yo Wang was already on the phone. Tell home to send the semi-truck. Truly a wealthy family. The man sighed inside, and turning back, was shocked to find the group before. The man wore a look of disbelief, reluctant to engage further. But since it was a small favor, he agreed on one condition. He wanted 50%. The great hero who saved the world was being asked to dissect monster corpses and hand over his magic stone. For these greedy humans, the man refused to argue, remembering the kind words his mother once told him. Never waste words when a fist can solve it. The next moment, the man tossed the magic stone back onto the corpse, leapt down, and stood firm before them. You divide the corpse yourselves. I don't need the magic stone, but I expect every bit of my share handed over without deduction. None of them had the skill to dissect a tough monster corpse. They couldn't even tear open a simple wound. Reluctantly, they agreed to let the man take the second-rank magic stone. After helping Yo Wang dismantle his portion, the crowd shamelessly begged the man to break theirs into smaller pieces as well. For the first time, the man felt a hardness toward humanity's ugly faces, but he still agreed. But I want a 50% service fee. Consider it a punishment for these fickle fools. Once the man finished, endless bickering broke out among them again. But that was no longer his concern. Meanwhile, before leaving, Yo Wang approached the man again, and the man learned that Yo Wang intended to stay on Earth, refusing to return to that other world. Yo Wang was confident in his own strength, but if the man was willing to form a team, Yo Wang said it would be perfect. The man, however, refused without explanation and didn't press the issue. Leaving only a business card behind, the man walked away. Used to solitude, he seemed ill-suited for teamwork. Besides, he had many other things to do beyond monster hunting. On the workbench in the tool room, this was already the 5th trap cube. To solve the dungeon problem faster, the man was eager to make more cubes, but at this time, Alta seemed troubled, always restless. It turned out the Earth now was definitely abnormal. In a world where only a few humans reached the top, energy balance was slowly tipping toward the monsters. In the other world, humans grew stronger under God's plan. The energy balance was slowly tilting toward the monsters. In another world, humans under God's assigned task. How to correct this imbalance was Alter's current worry. What about other countries? Only Korea had seen 3rd-rank monsters so far. Could these trap cubes be the cause? The man's guess shocked Alter. Could the trap cubes be empowering some monsters? Elta wasn't sure, but was certain trap cubes were key. The animals might have entered a berserk mode, waking before sensing danger. In contrast, monsters in the other world remained unaware of threats until they were imprisoned, causing their evolution to happen mostly within dungeons, relying on devouring each other to spawn stronger monsters. Woke up early instead. In contrast, the monsters of the other world, this actually proved the existence of dungeons was a good thing for Earth. That made the man more determined to. Basically, it only happened in dungeons, and more often they gave birth to new powerful monsters by devouring each other. But on Earth, they didn't need to fight each other. Just by devouring humans, they could evolve stronger. Even Alter found it tedious for the man, but the man said it was quite interesting. Make more trap cubes. In the days after, the angels restoring magic would all assist at night. Thinking it over, it made sense. For long years, he had been alone. Without these, what else could possibly hold his interest? Unconsciously, Alter began to understand the man's mindset more clearly. But then he was jolted. How could a high-ranking angel think like a lowly creature? Still, the feeling wasn't unpleasant. Regaining composure, Alter urged the man, "You must become strong. Once you're strong, you'll experience so much more." Of course, this was what the man wanted too. Without becoming strong, Spending 300 years mastering his craft would be wasted if all he did was sleep well. Angel Alter was speechless at the man's boredom but secretly envious. That morning, the man received a system message. Your rest skill level has reached its cap. Everyone's training recovery efficiency improved, but the one shocked most was Alter, because this was a skill even he didn't have. He even said it was a rare SSS grade advanced skill. The man scoffed at Alter's claim. A skill for sleeping couldn't be worth 3 people. But Alter's serious expression made the man think he wasn't joking. So what exactly was going on? When the man pressed, a frustrated Alter admitted it was indeed just for sleeping and resting. But with your reaction just now, do you expect me to believe that? The story began with skill evolution. Upgrading skills was a kind of achievement. It followed rules similar to acquiring new skills. The man had already met evolution requirements for skills like Tai Chi and purification, cultivating forward while the skills of dismantling and forging were already maxed out. As for Tai Chi and purification, their conditions were extremely harsh, and the man had no practical use for them at this stage. So the rest skill must be different from all these. You're very clever, Alter said. The man could compare the differences in these skills. Looking at the 2 blue status bars before him, the man discovered that upgrading the rest skill required 500 sleep demon hearts and 500 liters of troll blood. Upgrading the rest skill actually required 500 hearts of sleep demons and 500 liters of troll blood. There's even a 3rd tier magic stone. This is way too hard. How could anyone possibly complete this? Yet Elta said this is already easy. Just take a look at the other skill requirements. Then you'll understand. The upgrade for the fir tree skill, it actually required 1 strike to kill 500 tier 3 monsters, 1,200 tier 3 spells, and 11 tier 4 spells. Surely very easy, right? But the man had already spoken honestly on the spot. That doesn't mean upgrading the rest skill is easy, alright? Besides, I can't even use magic, and I'm only level 28 so far. Speaking of which, Elta understood in her heart the man's leveling speed really is slow. Could it be because of that strange hidden class? Without magic to help, strength differed greatly. The man's power relied on martial arts he studied for 1,000 years. Without that, he'd be no match for anyone. But if he learns magic, he'll absolutely become a terrifying force. He could very well become the strongest record holder the world has ever seen. A true creator. And that day feels like it's coming soon. By then, what change would it cause? But for now, thinking so much is useless. Better prevent first the dangers that might appear ahead.